So hello everyone, welcome to Global Biz Apps Weekend 2021 powered by D365 Champs. And it's day one today. We are almost at the last few sessions to close this day. And we hope you are doing well and keeping safe wherever you are connecting for this session. And I am Venkat Subbarao Polsetti and moderating this session along with Ankush. This session is presented by Deepak Shrivastava. Deepak will be talking about Excel automation with Power Automate. And just a brief intro about Deepak Srivastava. So Deepak is a senior manager at E&Y, and he's an MVP, and he's also uh, he runs the Greater Houston community and user group, and he's an Power Automate super user, and he has a vast experience of over 16 plus years in Power Apps, SharePoint, Power BI, Microsoft Teams, and he's a technology enthusiast and he's a learner and always problem solver. And before I hand over the session to Deepak, I would like to mention that if you have any queries, please feel free drop in the chat window. We will take them either during the session if possible or during the Q&A time. Thank you again for joining and enjoy the session. Deepak, over to you.
Thank you, Venkat, and thanks for the introduction. Let me share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, you can see now.
Okay, and now I'm not gonna able to see the chat that I like to see all the time. So let me manage the screens. Okay, so welcome everyone, and thanks for staying still if it's late for you guys. And I think we will go to the next screen. You guys hear me okay, right? Or is my voice still low?
You're audible.
Yeah, loud, clear.
Okay. So what we're going to talk today, Excel automation with Power Automate. So there's a lot of different aspect of Excel. We use Excel. I think Excel is one of the Microsoft most used tool from someone who is not even have anything to do with IT or someone who is actually working very much into the hardcore developments. Everyone has used Excel since beginning till today. So what we're going to see, generally what we do with Excel and how we can use Power Automate to automate some of the day-to-day work that you, your colleague, your client, or anyone that you know are using Excel for. I think Venkat has already introduced me, so this is a little bit about myself. Some of the details at the below if you want to connect with me, social media, my YouTube, and my website. So feel free to connect me there. I can be easily connect with you there. So let's start. I'm not going to waste any more minute for you guys, but let's start from the very beginning. That what is Microsoft Cloud? And you might be hearing about Microsoft Cloud, that Microsoft creating those different cloud, and every cloud has a different need for a different aspect. It start with Microsoft Azure, and as you know, Microsoft Azure sitting at the very bottom. It's the intelligent business application cloud. What it does, it allow you to create end-to-end solutions in the cloud. Then we have Microsoft 365. This is client-facing cloud where you have SharePoint, OneDrive, OneNote. Some extent Excel also part of that M365 if you are using Excel online. Then we have Microsoft Dynamics 365. This is more of CRM cloud for client who want to use it for the CRM or ERP prospect. From Microsoft point of view, yes, these are the different cloud, different functionality or feature these clouds are providing, but what is common between all these three clouds, or what is actually connecting these clouds together, or if we have anything that can connect to all these three clouds seamlessly, and that's where the Power Platform is sitting. Though Power Platform conceptually is part of Dynamics 365 Cloud, because that's where the Power Platform is running on, but it has all these connector capabilities that allow you to connect from M365 to D365 to Azure. So this gives you that gelling feature with which you can get data from M365 to Azure or Azure to Dynamics 365 or vice versa. So you need to understand that concept, because if you are clear in this concept, then you can build any automation going forward, not just for Power Automate that we are going to talk today, but any other Power Platform tool that we are going to see in the next slide. So Power Platform, as you know, it's a low-code, no-code platform, and I think there's a very thin line between low-code and no-code, and it is both. So you can create app, or you can create an automate, or you can create a chatbot without writing a single line of code. Or you can actually write some code there. You can make some complex solution using these tools. So it provides both low-code and no-code platform. And as I said, it spans from M365 to Dynamics 365 to Azure to any other standalone application. You can even connect to SAP using Power Platform. So there are a lot of connector and extensions are available that can help you to extend this platform to a very large extent. What it includes, and I think most of you already know, so Power Platform has these 4 key pillars. Power BI, again, we know is a business analytics. You can create reports, dashboard based on the data that can be stored anywhere. It can be in SharePoint, OneDrive, Dynamics 365, Azure, anywhere else. Then we have Power Apps. This is the application development. Very nice tool if you have not used. I'm hoping most of you are aware of Power App. It allows you to create very interactive and functional app in no time. If you think about creating some functionality in custom development using .NET or C#, it may take much more time as compared to Power App, where you can quickly just drag and drop and build those functionality. If it is possible, yes, of course, everything is not possible in any tool, but if it is possible, it's very quick. Then we have Power Automate. It's an automation engine, and I think right now in Microsoft, this is one of the most used automation tool that Microsoft has introduced. With Power Automate, you can do a lot of automation like automatic reminder, automating processing the data, getting data from different systems, combining in lots and lots of that. And then we have a Power Virtual Agent. This is a chatbot pillar of Power Platform. This allows us to create very interactive chatbot. And if you know what is chatbot, it's like a small chat window where no human sitting behind it, but it can interact with humans based on the predefined logic that you can define in Power Virtual Agent. And it's very simple to use. And how all of this is working, based on the Dataverse. So Dataverse is nothing but a common data model sitting in Dynamics 365 that's enabling all of these features and functionality for these 4 key pillars. Other than these 4 key pillars and the Dataverse that's enabling all of that, we also have the data connector and AI builder functionality, or the features you can say, in Power Platform. And what this allows, it allows you to extend beyond limits. Because once you have data connector based on the APIs or anything else, it allows us to connect to any other tools or system that is available. And that's where our Excel comes in. So we have an Excel data connector that allow Power Automate to connect to an Excel file. And also AI Builder. AI Builder is nothing but a subset of Azure AI service that we have in Azure. Is a subset of AI Builder, AI features, artificial intelligence. And that this AI Builder functionality in Power Platform, specifically in Power Apps in Power Automate, enables our citizen developers or the people who are not hardcore developer to actually enable the AI functionality into their apps on Power Automate. And it's very simple to use. So this was a very basic background of what this Power Platform is all about. Now let's talk about the Power Automate and why it is so important nowadays. And if you read this, the vision statement from Microsoft, it says people should only have to focus on tasks where they can bring unique human value. Their potential is limitless, but their time is not. And that's the key about automation, because sometimes what we, and it's include me, you, and everyone, we spend a lot of time on something that really not bringing any value to us, or also not bringing any value to the company or the client. Like for example, if I have a work where I'm getting an Excel file every day, the only thing I'm doing, copying the data from that Excel file to another Excel file. That doesn't really giving any value to anyone. I'm not learning anything new by doing this. And also the client for whom I'm doing that work also not getting anything because they are paying me for that work. So why not automate those kind of work where practically there is no human involvement required? And that's where you need to think from the automation point of view. So when you think about automation, it's not just that you are trying to, or we are trying to automate everything and anything that we see. Instead, think that whether the really human involvement is required in that process or not. If it is not, then we need to automate that process. So what is Microsoft Power Automate? As we know, it's an end-to-end intelligence automation platform. So you can automate different process, different day-to-day tasks. It helps people and teams to work more smarter. And when you say more smarter, that means when you are not doing repetitive work, that means you are working more smart, because you are allowing system to do the work and you are investing your time to something that is more valuable. As always said, work less, do more. That's the concept you should be also following. If you can deliver more with the working less, that means you are highly productive. And these are the key value pillars for Power Automate. And this is very important if you're talking to someone and they were asking that why Power Automate. So Power Automate is automation at a scale. So Power Automate is not just for one person in the company or one team in the company. No, it's not just for the developer. It is also not just for the business user. It's for entire organizations. It is seamless and secure integration. So it allows you to connect to any system if that API or connectors are available seamlessly and securely. Accelerate productivity. As I said, once you start automating those repetitive work, it's going to increase the productivity for you and also for your company if you are running the department or running a company. And it's very intelligent automation. Intelligent automation is like you are keep improving the repetitive work by automating them and also introducing those AI and other capability to making it more advanced. Quickly, let's jump on to the app connectors. So as I said earlier, there are lots and lots of connectors are available in Power Automate or in Power Platform as such that allow you to connect to any other system. And if you look at the right-hand side screen, you can see different Microsoft and other system for which we have connectors. There are around 500 plus and maybe more. Every day, the slides I need to change because every day new connectors are getting released. There are three type of connector that you can think of. There are standard connector, premium, and preview. And when you are working on the Power Platform, make sure that you understand that concept. Standard connector are something that you can use without paying any premium fees or without changing your license. Because generally, what happened when you have the M365 license, you got the license to use Power Automate and Power App. So any connector that is saying standard that you can use without making any more money investment. Then we have the premium connector like SQL, where you need to change your license that you are using to maybe Powerflow, or if you have the new pay as you go, the new licensing option that is enabled just recently in Ignite. And there are some preview. Preview are like some connector. Those are not really generally publicly available for the production use, but they are there for you to test. And you can provide your feedback to the Microsoft for these preview connector if you like to. And the last but not the least, you can also create your own connector. So if you don't see anything that is there, or if you are having a system in your company where you want to connect your Power Automate to, you can actually build your own connector by defining your own API. Okay, so that was the quick introduction of our platform and everything that we're talking about. Now let's understand the automating Excel. If you are using the Power Automate right now, and if you have not used, I'm going to log into the system also. There are two connectors you will see once you log into the Power Automate. You will see Excel Online for Business and Excel Online for OneDrive. If you don't know the difference is very simple. Excel Online is for OneDrive for Business. Okay, so that means it can connect to OneDrive for Business, SharePoint sites, Office 365, or M365 groups. Instead, Excel Online OneDrive is for your personal account. So if you are creating an automation for your team, then you always has to go with Excel Online for Business. If you are creating something only for you, or you are just want to restrict the logic into your personal OneDrive, then you can just use the Excel Online for OneDrive. I have never used the OneDrive, Excel Online OneDrive, this one because most of the time when we are automating something, we are automating for the entire team. So Excel Online for Business, that's what we going to use today also. So before we jump in, and I have I have lots of demo, by the way. I have around 3 demo for you guys, and I have set up in 3 stage. So first we will see the different actions. Those are available in Excel Online for Business. Then we will jump on to the second one and then third one. I'm not going to reveal what is third and second and third. As we go, we will know. So let's start with Excel Online for Business and what it brings. If you know the action, and if you are using Power Automate, you know what is actions are. Actions are nothing but what you can do with it, right? So if we know there is an Excel Online for Business connectors available, but what that mean? What I can do with it? You can do all of this plus more. These are the few that I listed that I think highly used when you are working with Excel, but it's not the 100% that these are the only actions that you can use. There are many other actions available that you can also use. So what you can do with this Excel Online connector, you can get the worksheets. So as we know in Excel, you can create different worksheets or sheets, right? Automatically in Power Automate, once you have your Excel connected, you can get all the worksheet and you can start knowing what all different worksheets are available in the Excel. You can also get the table. You can also get the list rows presented in table. So table, I mean to say the data that you have in your Excel. You can create a table. You can create a worksheet. You can get a particular row. You can update a particular row, and there are many other actions that you can do. Let's jump onto the browser, and I'm going to show you what you can actually achieve with that. And before that, why we even need to automate and what we need to automate. Let me open my site. Okay, so this is my SharePoint site. Oops. This is my SharePoint site, and let me walk you through why we even need to automate. So let's talk about a good use case. Okay, so let's say I'm working on a company. Okay, and as we are today, joining from different locations, every day or every other day, I received a project status from my different team. Those are sitting in the different locations. Okay, my work is, so for example, this is the status file that I'm getting. It's a simple Excel file, right? My job is to get this data because these are the individual project files, copy that, and then I have a final status Excel file, and I need to create a new tab for that project and copy paste. Okay, that's my everyday work, or that's one of my everyday work. If I'm just getting one file every day, that's pretty much good, right? I can just get one file, copy the data, and I'm good to go. What if I'm getting 10 or 50 or hundreds of files every day? Then you can think about how much time I'm going to spend on copying the data and then pasting it to the final status file. What if I automate that? So let's see if how this automation is going to work. So what I have these. So I'm going to copy one Excel file. Let me actually show you that Excel file first. Okay, so this is one of the Excel file, one of the status file that I'm receiving from one of my team. And if I go to the table here, this is for D365 demo. Okay. So I'm going to copy that file into this library. So let's say I receive this file. Now what should happen here? As soon as I receive this file, a Power Automate should automatically get triggered. It should open this Excel file, read the data, go to this final status file, and actually insert or update the data that we have. So let me go back to the flow here. Okay, so this is the flow that I have. I just moved the file. It's going to take around 1 minute if it's not going to trigger immediately, but this is the flow, and I'm going to walk you through with this flow that what this flow is doing, and meanwhile it's behind the scenes it's going to run. So as I said, when a file is created and modified, so this is the first action that I have in this flow, and what this action is doing, it's just waiting for a new file to be arrived in that particular library. Project status, this was the library, correct? So when I receive the file, the first thing that we do, this is the first action that you can do, get tables. And what get tables does, it actually, so this is the identifier, this is the file that we are receiving. It's gonna get all the tables in this file. Okay, so this is the file that we have moved. So all the tables in this file, this action will give me. But what we are more interested, we are just interested into the first table that we are receiving. So I'm getting the first table. Mostly in my case, there's only going to be one table. So I'm getting the first table to get the data. Then we have this final status file, as you know here, where I'm going to copy the information from my previous file. So what I'm doing, I'm also getting tables from this table. And why I'm doing it? Because I need to check whether that the file that I have received is for new project or it's for an existing project. Okay, and how I know that? So this is another simple filter array. Filter array allow you to filter the two array and then give you one final array. So what I'm doing here, I'm saying that the final status tables that I'm getting, there can be one or there can be many tables in the final status array. Get me all the table and filter it for the name, that's the table name, and output of this. So if the report that I have received, and if the table in that receive already exists in this final array, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go through the left hand side. This is the check, and I'm going to update the tab that I have. If not, then what I'm doing here, I'm creating a worksheet. So you can create a worksheet on the fly. And the logic is very simple. The actions are in Excel is very, very simple. You just pick the create worksheet. You will provide your file path and everything and the name of the worksheet. And that will create the worksheet. Once you create the worksheet, you can also create the table because that's what you need to create. And creating the table, again, it's very simple. Once you choose the create table action, you can provide the name of the file and the table range. This is the key. So when you see the table range, this is the name of the table. So the way you need to define, so single quote, the name of the table. What I'm passing here, I'm just passing the name of the table that I'm receiving. You can pass anything here. Close the single quote, exclamation mark, and then we have this A1 annotation. These are the number of columns that we want in this table. So I'm saying A1 to I1, and this is why my A1 to I1. So I need these many columns here. And then it's going to be just the table name. So what table name you want. If you don't provide this name here as a table name, what it's going to do is going to try to create this table on the first worksheet in your Excel. So if you have multiple worksheets, then you need to define which worksheet it has to be creating the table. So it's going to create the table, and once the table is going to create, it's going to get all the rows from my project status file that I received, and then add row into table, another action. This is also very straightforward. Add row in a table. It's going to ask you to the which file, which table we just created, and the row you are already getting from this action. This is if the worksheet and the table is not created, and if the project is the new project file that I've received. If I've received a project status file for an existing project, then what I'm doing, I'm just going through each row and creating those rows into that existing table. Okay, so this was the flow, and I think the flow ran successfully. And let me go back. So as you can see here, this runs 3 minutes ago. And we're going to just quickly go through it and go back to the file and see if it is updated. So I updated this file, so this got triggered. Then we have the get table, and as you can see here, the name of the table was D65 demo. So it got the table name. I'm just getting the first table name. That was the first table name. This is my final status Excel. Here I have lots of tables, but D65 demo does not exist because this was for the new project. So you see here, this filter array action that I had is returning me empty. That means nothing exists. So this is false. So then it's going to the right hand side, creating the worksheet, creating the table list represent, and it should, if I go back to my final status file, and if you look at the D365 demo, all the data that I received or was in that project status file has been moved to the new sheet, new table, and it's all done. So now if I'm going to keep getting these files, I don't even need to come back and look here. I can just keep looking into my final status file. It's going to keep updated, and I can even extend that and create some report on this on top of this Excel, and its process is automated. Right. So this is how easy it is. And as I said, these actions, once you start using those actions in the Power Automate and we're creating it, they are very intuitive and very straightforward. The only few things that I said, like creating a table where you need to understand this, the way you can pass the name of the table and the column information. I think rest of it is very simple and straightforward. Now let's jump back to our here. So we understand, or we see that, okay, what all the actions are available. But if you notice one thing, or one thing that you want to always remember, if you are using those actions, and if you are running your Power Automate to a given Excel, what's going to happen? It's going to run to that entire Excel, right? So it's going to get all the Excels and run through it. You can provide filters, but still the entire Excel is getting into the Power Automate, and Power Automate is trying to run the process or logic that you have defined. What if you just want to run your automation logic on a particular row in Excel? Okay, so you don't want to run the logic on each and every row, or maybe filtered row, but you just want to select where you want to run the automation, and then you want to complete your automation. Can you do it? Yes, you can do it. So there is a trigger. Now, what is trigger? Trigger is something that's going to start the process. Okay. So in Excel, we have only one trigger, that is for a selected row. And what it does, it allows you to trigger a given Power Automate for a given row or multiple rows. Okay. And how this is possible, how you can run a Power Automate from Excel. So there is a Power Automate add-in, and I'll show you in once I go back to my screen. There's add Power Automate add-in in Excel that you can add to your Excel, and once you do that, you can actually create a Power Automate flow inside Excel, or you can run it from there. Okay, so this is an on-demand automation, and it is on-demand automation because end user can decide when and on what they want to run the Power Automate flow. Okay, and this is tabular format is pretty much applied to previous and this one. If you are trying to run the automation of Power Automate flow in the Excel, the data that you have should be in the tabular format. That's the limitation. Okay. Go back to the screen again, and this time. Okay, so this is my OneDrive, and I have the simple Excel file here, financial sample. Okay, and if you notice here, it has lots of data, lots of financial data from the different country. That's fine. You can have any set of data. But what I want, I don't want to go through. Actually, what I want to create an approval process on this data, but I don't want to get approval for each and every row here. Instead, based on some logic, or maybe a profit is less than some certain amount, that row should be approved only or reject only, right? So for that, what you can do, as I was talking about the add-in, if you go to the insert in your Excel, you will see Office add-in, and if you click on the Office add-in, these are my add-in, but if you can search also, you have this Microsoft Flow for Excel. This add-in is going to allow you to create Power Automate flow in this Excel, and then that flow can be used for a selected row. Okay, I already have this add-in in my Excel, so I'm not going to add it again, but if you're not, you can just click, and this will add to your Excel. And once you go to the data tab, on the very right hand side, you should be able to see something like this, the flow. Okay, once I click on that flow, now if you notice, I am still on my Excel. I have not left the Excel, but now what I'm seeing on the right hand side, I can see this entire flow experience. I can create a new flow. I can select these templates that we have here to start with. And all of these flow are going to have a trigger that we are talking about that I need to show you. So if I log into flow.microsoft.com, if I create a new flow, okay, let me skip, I'll do it here. Okay, so oops, for a selected row, right? So this is the trigger that will start from here. I already have this flow created because just to save time, we have very limited time and I like to show a lot. So this flow, again, it's very simple flow. What this flow is going to do, it can start for a selected or multiple selected rows, as I have seen before. And then you can start that flow on the trigger. And then once you start that flow, for example, if I select and then if you do that, after that, you can do anything that you want for that given row. You can start an approval process. You can take that particular row and move it to the SharePoint list, or you can send an email. Any other action that is possible here, you can do after you trigger that flow from Excel. So let me first show you the flow that I have, and then we will run that. Okay, so this is the flow, initiate approval request, and as you can see here, the same flow. And let me just give you a quick walkthrough of this flow. So what this flow is doing, again, it's for a selected row. And if you notice here, this is what I'm passing the information. It's my Excel is in OneDrive for Business. You can have your Excel in the SharePoint also. The file name, the table name, as I said, the table name is required. And then what you can also do, you can define these input parameter. Okay, input parameter in any trigger, and this is not just for this particular trigger. You can define these input parameter for any of your trigger, any other trigger that we have in Power Automate. What I'm defining here, approval email, because I'm trying to create an approval process here. Message, what message they will see, and also the file. Okay, so there is a support you can actually associate a file with the trigger when you're going to trigger. Once I have all of this information, I'm initializing a variable. This is also a key point. Once you have this for a selected row, what Excel and Power Automate doing together, they're going to give you this entire row. So if you look at these different information here, and if I click here, I am actually getting all the columns that I have in Excel. So I have different column here. When I'm going to trigger, I'm getting all the information. So I don't need to look for the information. I'm getting this entire Excel row and I can use it for any purpose. Okay, and then I'm just creating this simple array because I want to send this information to the approver so they can see what information or what they are approving. And of course, as I said, assigned to is an email that I'm asking end user to provide, and message. Simply starting a simple approval process, and based on the decision on this approval process, I'm updating that particular row again. And how I'm updating it. This is another Excel action, update a row. And of course, you need to provide your Excel path, your table, the column. This should be the unique column. Otherwise, it's going to just update the first column that it receives. So what I have this ID column in my Excel. This is a unique column. So I'm saying with the key column and key value is equal to this for which row I'm running it. And then status column I am updating based on the output of the approval process. So I have this status column, right? So let's see how we can run that flow. Okay, so only thing I need to do, I need to select a particular row. So I selected this row. The status is empty. I will see the flow if I have created. I'm going to click on the run. As soon as I click on the run, it's going to ask me the information on those input parameters that I have defined in my Power Automate. So approval email, I'm going to assign to myself right now. So message, and then you see your supporting file. So now I can actually import and attach a file with this approval process. And I'm going to say run flow. Done. We will see, wait for this one, but meanwhile we can go back here. I should also see a message coming in. It's running pretty good, pretty fast. I was thinking it's going to take 1 minute. So the flow got triggered. I should receive email or team notification as soon as it move further in the flow. Okay. So I got the message on my cell phone, and here I'm not, so I will go here and show you guys in the action item in the approvals, because I have started the approval process. And this is the approval process. You can define, I'm not sending any email, I was just sending the team notification. And you can see here, right? Just now, 20 seconds, minute ago, I got this message. And if you notice here, all the information that I was passing is listed here. So as an approver, I can see all the information. I can also see the file. I can click on this file and I can see what file attachment is this. So this can be your supporting document that you want to send to approver that why profit is low, right? So they can make the right decision. And then from here I can approve, reject, whatever I need to do. I'm going to click confirm, and then I will jump here. So I like to show you guys that this should be approved or approved once the flow complete. There we go, right? So this is how easy you can. So now if you are an end user, right? And for example, if you're working on Excel file day and day, as a developer or as a power automate maker, you can create these automate flow, train your users that whenever you need approval, you just need to select the row, click on this button, provide the information, and that's it. They don't need to worry about what's happening behind the scene. You can also run this for multiple rows. If you select a couple of rows, you can run it. The only point that you need to understand, when you run on multiple rows, it is not gonna one flow, it's gonna be two flow. If you're selecting 3 rows and running, then 3 flow will trigger. So this is based on you can select multiple rows, but end of the day, it's just gonna trigger that many approval process or that many flows. Okay, so now let's move to our slide if you guys don't have any question. Okay, so we have seen what we have seen so far. We have seen the different actions that we can run on the entire Excel. We have also seen what you can do for a select array, this on-demand automation you can do. But if you notice, the only thing that we were doing so far is the data automation, right? And when I say data automation, is like you are getting some data. Based on the data, you are either creating an approval process or creating an item, creating a table. What about more? What about if I say I want to do some sort of customizing on the Excel? Maybe I want to style it. Maybe I need to do some formatting in Excel, right? Or maybe I want to write my own logic that, for example, creating a new column based on the other columns. How can I do all of that? And from where that mindset is coming, if you guys have used Excel, you may be heard about VBA, that is Visual Basic for Excel. So with VBA, what you as a developer, this is more, now we are moving toward more developer side of it. So as a VBA developer, you had the capabilities of writing code, and then you can automate a lot of things in Excel directly. Once we move to the Excel Online and the Excel in the cloud, you cannot use VBA in Excel Online. That's the limitation, right? VBA is only for the desktop. So what if you want to do same thing in Excel Online? That's where you have this Office script. So what Office script allow you to do, it allow you to create your VBA kind of coding, but this time it's in TypeScript. So what you can do, you can write your own TypeScript for automation, or you can record your actions. So you can start the recording, you can do some formatting, column creation, and all of that in Excel file, and you can record that. and repeat it later. Okay, but that's not just the repeating. What you can also do with this Office script, you can have the save that Office script files that got generated when you're recording, and you can use that for other Excel. It's a similar data set or similar data schema. Okay, you can share this with your colleagues, so I can create one script file and I can share with my colleagues and they can run it onto their Excel. Now, what is the requirement for an Office script to work? Number one thing, yes, it is for Office Excel Online, so you need to be in the Excel Online. OneDrive for Business or SharePoint, and license any Microsoft 365 license that you have. It can be the Business Premium, Enterprise, and all of that. And last but not the least, by default it is enabled in the tenant, but if you don't see the Office script option in your Excel, that means your tenant admin has been disabled that. So it's on the tenant admin can decide whether the entire organization can use the Office script or not. So if you are not seeing it, most probably either you don't have the right license or it has been disabled by the tenant admin. Okay, so now let's see this in action. Let me go back to my other screen here. Hold on for a second. Okay, so first let me show you the Office script, how this works, and then we will see the demo. So if you log into your Excel Online in here, on the top you will see a button called Automate. If you are not seeing this button, that means, as I said, either you don't have the license or you don't, your tenant admin has been disabled. If you see it, that's great. That's what you need to do for automation. Once you are here, you will see the Record Action button. You can click that action and look at this right-hand panel here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to so I'm just doing something in Excel, right? And let's say I'm going to just say here. Okay, and I'm going to stop. So you see here what has happened. I just added one column and I just formatted the background of this column, very basic. It generated this script file for me, and if I click on this edit, this is the type script that's automatically get generated based on my actions or my steps that I was doing on the Excel, and actually capture everything that I was doing. So you can see here, it's created one column here, and then also set the background. Now, do you need to always record? No. If you are comfortable with writing TypeScript, you can actually type your own TypeScript using Excel. And then you can have any complex scenario that you want to create, you can create in Excel. And what you can do after that, once you have your script, once you save it, you can repeat it. So let me repeat that one. It's already there. So let me, if I delete this column and rerun this, it will create that column again. So you can repeat this any number of times. And once you have this script, you can trigger this script from Power Automate. And that's what we're going to do. So not this one. I'm going to just, of course, I'm going to give you a quick use case scenario. So the scenario is very simple, what we have seen at the very beginning, that I am receiving the different Excel file from the different countries. Okay. Now my job, like this is the example file. This is how I'm getting the file. Okay. My job is to get this file and format this file something like this. Okay. And if you notice the difference between the raw file that I'm receiving and the file that I should be converting to, there's a profit column added. There is a provided by who sent that file has been added. The name of the country or the financial report that I'm receiving from has been added. And also the total profit has been added and the profit factor. And the profit column has a formula here, right? In here, there's nothing. So I need to do all of that. So what I did, I pick one file. I recorded my script by doing all of this manually one time. And then I have that available in my Power Automate flow. And that's what we're going to do. So if I go back to my screen here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick the file and upload it here. Okay, so file is here. Let's jump onto the Power Automate flow and see that script first. And then we will understand how that flow is working. Okay, this is my flow. Let me just walk you through the flow. It's very simple. The script, recording the script is very simple, as you have seen. You just need to do what you generally do in Excel. Just make sure that your recording is on, and then it's automatically going to capture all those different actions that you do. So trigger is when a file is created. Then we have this action called run a script. Okay, run a script, another action here, where you need to select your. Actually, let me show you that while it's running. We have some time here. Okay, so this is the action, run a script. Once you select that, it's going to ask you the file where you want to run this this file, on what is the location. I'm going to select this one. And it's going to ask you the file, on which file you want to run this one. Okay, so these are the pretty standard for most of the actions that you have in Excel. Then in the script, if you have created, or if your colleague has created and they're shared with you, you will see all of those scripts listed here. I have many, right? Select one of the script file, or whichever script you want to run. Let me select one. I want to select the right one that you have. Yes, demo report. Now you see here, there are three things that the parameter is asking. It's asking the provided by, profit factor, and the report title. If you notice in my formatted Excel, I have these three values that I need to provide. So if I go here and if I go to the demo script file, okay, so this is the script that I have captured. What you can also do in this script, again, this is I'm getting a little bit more in advance in the coding. What you can do, you can pass your parameters here. So what I'm passing here, I'm asking the provided by. So this is something that I want end user to provide when they are running the script. I'm also asking the profit factor and also the report title. So these are the three parameters that I'm asking end user. And good thing about this, when you will define those parameters, Power Automate run a script action will low, and it will actually provide you a better presentation. So you can provide. These are the default. I can override and provide the information. Not only that, once you have those parameters, you can use them like I'm using in these different areas. You can also return the detail. So you can complete your logic, your actions. Let's say what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to pass this final profit, the total of all the cell, back to the Power Automate. So this is the return. I can return this information. And if you notice my flow here, this is the original flow. So I'm passing this information as I'm receiving. And then this is the return. This is the result of this output. So I am passing the final output or final total profit from my Excel to the Power Automate, and then I can use that in any other process. And what I'm doing, I'm creating another item in another list for that country and the total profit for that country. Okay, so let me go back here and see if our
Deepak, sorry to interrupt, a quick time check. And
yes,
we have one question as well, yeah.
We are almost done, and I think almost done, yeah.
There is a question as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Ask another opinion.
So how can we connect to Dataverse using Excel Office script to automate CRUD operation, can this be achieved?
So Office script is more in the Excel. So if you can actually, as I was saying, if you can do in general TypeScript, and this is TypeScript, right? So you can type any TypeScript, and this is all Excel object. So if you can do it here, definitely it's done. Means if you're connecting your Dataverse from the Excel, and you are operating that if any operation that you want to do, you are doing here, you can do it. And Power Automate in this case, in this Office script case, is just a facilitator. So Power Automate is actually not really doing any logic. It's just picking the script file that you have selected and running it on behalf of you. So yes, if you can do it here, you can definitely complete. If not, then you need to go to the Power Automate and then connect to the Dataverse and do it there. You can, as I said, you can pass the data between Excel and Power Automate using Office script, so you can definitely do that. So let's jump on here in this the file. So this is the file that we have uploaded, and if you notice here, all the information it has formatted. The profit column has been created. The total profit value has been created. The formula that we have defined has been applied. The profit factor and all other information. And I have done nothing, right? I just got the file, it's there, it's automatically formatted. This can be very helpful if you are working in Excel every day and doing lots of formatting. And not only that, if I go back to this list, I think it should have this entry, right? So I have the entry for Canada, and I also have the profit listed. So it can extend. Now think about, I am running an Office script, getting some multiple Excel file, running this complex logic that I cannot do in available actions in Excel online. Using Office script, I'm doing all that and then getting all the data back, storing in SharePoint and running Power BI report on top of that. So this can be a very nice end-to-end automation solution. Okay, and because we are almost there, I need to just show you the Power Automate flow, and then we will jump onto the last slide that we have. Okay, so the file created, this was a trigger, and as you notice here, this was our script file that got triggered. And this is very straightforward. I'm just getting the output. This is the output coming back from the Office script file, and I am using that to create an item. So this is the flow, very straightforward flow. Let's jump on to some of the key information, and this is something that you absolutely need to know. What are the limitations? Because when we work on the Excel, and as we know, Excel can grow very fast, right? And I don't know if you are working on Excel in your prior projects or any other usage. And if you have noticed that if you are working on Excel that is very huge, the flow is running for hours, if not days. Okay, and the reason behind that, because you miss these limitations when you are designing your Power Automate flow. So number one is the maximum file size supported is 25 MB. Okay, now again, don't mark this number, because as you know, Microsoft is keep updating things. So as it means if it's changed, but whenever you start designing a Power Automate flow, make sure that you check that what is the maximum file size that is allowed in Power Automate. And maybe your file is 100 KB today, but can it go 100 MB in next 1 year? Because if that's the case, then you are designing something that's not going to work only for a few months. So understand that what is the maximum file size. Right now it's 25 MB. Then we have the list row present in a table. I think this is the highly used action when you're working in Excel, because what it does, it gives you all the rows available in Excel. The default. So if you're not making any changes, just using the list row present in Excel, it's 256 rows that it will get. You can increase that limit by going to the setting of that action in multiplier of 256. So it can go from 256 to 512 to 1024 and keep going. But as you're gonna grow that number, the performance of your flow is gonna start decreasing. So if you have 10,000 row in Excel and you want to read all those 10,000 row and you increase the row limit, your flow may run for 24 hours. If you are using the normal flow license that comes with M365. So if you are designing a flow that is for bigger need, you need to definitely think about the licensing. then only one filter can be applied on a column. So you cannot have multiple filter on a single column. Also, you can use only one column for sorting when you are getting these rows, and maximum column is 500. Excel generally locked for 6 minutes when you are using flows. When you are updating something or creating something, generally it's going to lock for 6 minutes, and pivot table is not supported. Okay, so that's bring us to the end of today's session. I hope this will help you. Again, my detail is here. And that's it. Yeah, thank you. I try to keep it more basic, so because I like to show you the possibilities, what you can do. If you want to get into more detail, there's lots of videos, articles available that you can just get into detail. Thank you. I'm on time.
Any more questions for Deepak? Like, he is available right now. I believe no more questions. Yeah. So a great learning session came to an end. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. We really appreciate your presence. We hope that you are taking some powerful learnings from this session. Thank you, Deepak, for an amazing session on Excel automation with Power Automate and sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you. Thank you all.